Good afternoon, guys. I've got discussion aid for you. We are discussing how more older adults are turning to roommates because housing costs have outpaced what many seniors, especially single women, can afford on their own. What's driving this trend? Housing costs have surged nationwide and fixed incomes haven't kept up. In 2023, over one third of households headed by someone 65 plus struggled with housing costs, with their burden even heavier for women living alone. These number the number of adults 65 plus seeking roommates has tripled in the past decade. According to Spare Room, they are now the fastest growing roommate demographic. More older adults face life shocks, divorce, illness, loss of a partner, depleted savings, or damaged credit that make solo renting impossible. Baby boomers are aging into a market where rents and home prices have spiked, leaving middle income seniors squeezed out of both ownership and solo renters. What senior house what senior house sharing actually looks like. The NPR story follows David West, a 72-year-old who moved from Los Angeles to Fresno after divorce, family loss, and financial setbacks. He now rents a room in another old man's home. They split costs and exchange support, utilities, and Wi Fi on one side, photography help, and shared Costco membership on the other. This give and take model is increasingly common. Seniors share expenses. They trade skills or household help. They gain companionship and safety. Why this matters. This isn't a personal trend, it's a structural shift in how Americans age. Older adults are more housing costs burdened than working age adults, and the burden worsens with age. Many seniors who Many seniors would prefer to live alone, but affordability barriers push them toward shared housing. Roommates offer flexibility, mobility, and social connection, which can reduce isolation. the bigger picture. This trend reflects a growing affordability crisis. Seniors who once could rent a one bedroom now find it out of reach. As a result, shared living is becoming a mainstream retirement strategy, especially for single older adults navigating high housing costs and shrinking social networks. Roommate programs compare co-housing versus room sharing or online how to how to safely find a compatible roommate. Here's the heart of what the headline means, grounded directly in the article you're viewing. What the text is saying based on the page itself. The story explains that a growing number of older adults can no longer afford to live alone and are turning to roommates as a survival strategy. This shift is driven by a mix of personal crises, rising housing costs, and structural economic pressures. A personal story that reflects a national trend. The article opens up with David West, a 72-year-old who once worked steadily in Hollywood but experienced a cascade of losses, divorce, the death of a close family member, and the death of longtime clients, which left him financially depleted and with damaged credit current. Uh, he ultimately moved to Fresno and now rents a single room in a stranger's home, something he never imagined doing at his age. He and his roommate share costs and exchange support, a give and take arrangement that is becoming more common among seniors trying to stretch limited resources. Why more seniors are seeking roommates? The article makes it clear that this isn't an isolated case, it's a demographic shift. The number of adults 65 plus looking for roommates has tripled in the past decade. They are now the fastest growing roommate group, even though they're not the largest overall. Housing costs have risen so sharply that many older adults who once could rent a studio or one bedroom now find it impossible to afford on their own. This is especially true for women living alone who face even higher rates of housing cost burden. The structural forces behind the crisis. Researchers in the article point to several systematic pressures. Housing costs have spiked nationwide, hitting older adults harder than working age adults. Middle income seniors, not just low income, are increasingly struggling to keep up with rent and home expenses. Older adults are more likely to experience life shocks such as chronic illness or loss of a spouse, which can rapidly increase debt and financially vulnerability. In short, even people who worked their whole lives and planned reasonably while are being pushed out of solo living by forces beyond their control. The upside and the trade offs of shared living. The article also highlights seniors who have embraced the roommate lifestyle. Some appreciate the flexibility, mobility, and companionship it offers. Others enjoy a sense of community and shared interests. When the match is good, but it is not perfect, temperature disagreements, noise, messy pets, and uh, clashing habits are common friction points. Many seniors say they'd still prefer to live alone if they could afford it. One woman, Darla Destil, has adapted by downsizing her possessions so she can move easily between house settings, gigs, and shared rentals. A lifestyle she's proud of, but one shaped by necessity as much as choice. The core message: more seniors are being priced out of living alone, not because of poor choices, but because of rising housing costs, shrinking incomes, and life shocks that compound with age. Roommates one roommates once rare among older adults are becoming a mainstream survival strategy. Okay, guys, that's your A for today. I will see everybody later for shows. For now, Gator Wellness, take care, folks.